All right, second video on progression, because basically you get progression, you get the results that you want. In the past video, I talked about how trying to get everything perfect routine, perfect diet, can actually lead to stagnation and limit your progression, therefore your results. Today's video is kind of on the same idea, which is the biggest mistake often made when it comes to progression is people look to progress rules of diet and exercise while ignoring or forsaking the progression of principles. Now, principles are super important. In fact, it's what the whole Red Delta Project and fitness independence thing is based off of. That's what my book is all about. Because our fitness is a product of the natural process of the world. It's nothing we invented or made up or anything. The reason why you build muscle, lose weight, and all these other things are the result of natural processes, principles, that have evolved over eons of time through Mother Nature. And those are the things that are actually responsible for your results. Now, we humans like to create methods and systems and rules on how we can go about that. And rules are kind of like shoes. They're like footwear. We need them, they're good, but they're only good if they're a good fit for you and they're appropriate for the situation that you find yourself in. But what often happens within our fitness culture is we get experts and dogmas who pull out studies and scientific research and stuff and say, this is the rule you have to follow. But that's kind of like me saying, you have to wear size 9.5 tennis shoes. Doesn't matter how big your foot is, doesn't matter what you're trying to do, that's what you have to wear. The science says so, kind of thing. And that's when we often lose our way. And I don't care how great your rules are, if they're not a good fit for you, and they're not applicable to your situation, they're not going to work very well. So rules are great, but we have to not let them be more important than the principles that we follow. Instead, we want to use rules like tools. Like if you want to build a birdhouse, you select the appropriate tools. So for you, in your lifestyle, you select the rules that work well for you. And that's why a lot of times people ask me questions like, what do you think of this diet? What do you think of this workout? What do you think of this exercise and stuff? And it's basically like asking me, what do you think of these rules? To be honest with you, one, what the hell do I care? Two, what the hell should you care what I think about a rule? It's like asking me what kind of shoe you should wear, and I don't know. Go to the shoe store and say, this is my shoe size. I'm gonna try shoes on and buy what is a good fit. Same thing with diet and exercise rules. Don't feel like you have to adhere to anything that doesn't feel like a good fit for you. So the other way that this gets us kind of screwed over is sometimes we find a good rule that seems to be a good fit, but we focus so much on progressing that one rule that we ignore all of the other things that can influence that principle that's really responsible. Happens all the time in the dietary world. We pick on one thing about food, water, calories, sugar, carbs, fat, protein, whatever it is, and we find a rule that dictates like, this is how you should eat sugar, this is how you eat this, don't eat that, yada, yada. All fine and good. I'm not saying it's bad. But when we get tunnel vision and we think, weight loss is all about carbs, end of discussion, we lose sight of the fact that it's also about fat and protein and carbohydrates and calories and fiber and water and sleep and exercise and all these other things. So what we do is we basically like, well, I'm following this one rule, I'm not getting quite the results I want, so we keep refining and drilling the hell out of that one rule, and no matter how good we get that one rule progressive, it's still gonna have a limited effect. Meanwhile, all the other things that are still important, we're ignoring it and they can undermine our progress. So the lesson for today's video is rules are great, we need them, but pick and choose. I don't care what someone says about low carbohydrates diets. I look, feel, and perform a lot better when I have more carbohydrate in my diet. And at the end of the day, results are all that matter. I don't care what the science says, I do what's best for me. At the same time, who cares what I say about carbohydrates? It doesn't matter. If you feel better having less carbohydrate in your diet, you follow that. But at the end of the day, don't lose sight that we need to follow the principles of satisfying your appetites, calorie balance, being able to keep your energy level up. Those are the principles that are actually far more important than any sort of rule that we come up with. In the next few videos, I'm gonna be talking about some of the principles that we have to progress to burn fat, lose weight, have a healthier diet, and all these other things. But right now, the lesson is, principles are what we wanna focus on progressing, and we use rules as we see fit to help us progress those principles. Questions down below. Be fit, live free.